For some reason, Dr. Plain said, hey, I want to tackle everything in the world. I'm going to conquer all of it. I'm going to take all my problems, and I'm going to make one-stop solutions for everything.
I didn't think I would ever do a fucking podcast. I didn't ever imagine doing that. It made me realize that my purpose is to help others reach the goals and reach their full capacity. And if I can impact somebody's life, that is bigger than money. That is bigger than anything else.
Welcome to Live Stream with Dr. Alex Plains. He is unavailable today, so I'm going to host today. What do you think? Yes. I've got two incredible co-hosts with me. To my left, Kevin McCarthy.
How's it going, guys?
Director of Clinical Operations for I4A Institute. And to my right, Nick, Director of Marketing for I4A Institute.
How's it going, everybody?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about you, man?
Not bad, not bad. Busy week.
Oh, my God. Slammed. Crazy.
We've had some crazy meetings.
Oh, yeah, we have.
But you know what? They've been awesome, right?
It's been great.
We've been getting a lot of stuff done.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of parts moving.
What do you guys think about yesterday's meeting?
Thought it was great.
Yeah?
Couldn't have went better, honestly.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think when you actually put stuff in motion and you finally just shoot your shot with different things, I think a lot of things really fall into place. So I think that we're going down the right rabbit holes and open the right vendor relationships to make stuff flourish, really.
Yeah, that's what I'd love the listeners to understand that. You can never discount a conversation. We started out a little rough with a couple of our partners that really are involved now, and we're all aligned in the same path, and it's been a big win for us, right? I want to talk to you guys today about, implant specific and full arch specific. Like, where has it been in the last 5 to 10 years? Where's it now? And I mean, we're really heavily involved in this. I'd love to get some expert opinion on where it's going to go. What do you think, Kev?
So I think that we've evolved more in the last 5 years than we have in the last 50 years with
I agree.
dentistry, right? Between shifting over, and I think there's kind of a transition, right? So that transition is we've got older doctors that are kind of passing the flame out to the new guys, and ultimately, we're learning as the new generation what helps kind of progress that whole flow into a faster work plan. And that's digital. Everything's going digital.
Yeah, for sure. And, and I talk about this a lot too, and I'm going to bring Nick into this conversation. Well, back in the day, did anybody even know what lead gen was?
No, it was
No.
unheard of, but the way that we have actually progressed so quickly, I don't think anybody could have predicted it.
I agree.
Think about it now, just AI technology is taking over the world. We have things like ChatGPT that's getting banned inside of school campuses because it can write a whole essay in, 2 minutes. So it's pretty incredible where we're going with this and how fast this actually can go out and how incredible this information is actually traveling. So we're talking about implants. How much and how fast has implants, really just changed the game? You think about it, I have my grandfather. He's 80 years old, 85 years old. Just retired from dentistry 5 years ago. Think about that one. Oh. And he talks about how full arches are just literally a game changer, and he doesn't know why anybody would not get one at certain ages. My brother, currently has full arch on top or upper and lower, and then my father
Thank you,
does
Dr.
too.
Plains.
Thank you, Dr. Plains.
Yeah.
And then my father actually has it too, and it is a game-changing type of surgery. It's a game-changing type of look. It looks amazing on a sense too, how powerful it actually is. And now we're seeing everybody get that information of how they can personally get involved in it so much quicker.
Well, I think it's important that everybody identifies this. Like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, when you started talking about full arch or implant, you were swearing, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? That's never going to be part of dental industry. Are you crazy?
The price alone
Yeah.
on top of the
Oh
bar
my
for
gosh,
entry,
let's
right?
talk about the price.
Oh yeah, man.
How much was a single tooth implant 10 years ago? Like 10 grand or something?
10 to 12,000.
That's insane.
And so we've kind of advanced. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go.
We've kind of advanced in that where cost is coming down. It's kind of like open heart surgery, right? It's the same scenario. We have technologies that come out that kind of opens the spectrum for the general populace. I mean, who could afford $500,000 on open heart surgery? Even if you needed it, they're like, hey, buddy, sorry, sucks to suck. You're done.
Right.
That was a death sentence. Nowadays, with dentistry, implants are much cheaper. They're much more readily available, and they're, arguably the same quality.
I think sometimes, I agree with the quality part of it. I think there's 5 to 7 really valuable implant companies out there.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of people trying to replicate it, and just be wary of who you partner with respect to that. But I think that's an important thing that you just said there, because, you know, you're right. You know, the cost, like, remember laptops when they first came out?
Oh yeah.
Those things were insane. And now they're like $500 bucks.
Same deal.
Cell phones. I mean, it's all insane.
I mean,
Technology's
communication,
crazy.
technology. I think the internet was really the turning point, right? And that kind of goes into, you know, what Nick does for us. I mean, Nick, talk about marketing. Talk about, like, you know, back when you had to kind of, as a business, you had to kind of market that business in a huge way.
Yeah, I think it's just a game changer how much businesses actually have been able to evolve. You know, we talk about this all the time. I love people that actually do solar sales. I agree with it. You know, I think it's a great business. I think it's very needed. But if you tell me, hey, you go knock on this many doors, you're going to get this many people, the amount of time that it would take somebody to actually knock on like 300 doors, I can reach that's over 20,000 people on an ad or sponsor or post, whatever the case may be, in that period of time, and my cost efficiency would actually go down so much more. So productivity, as far as businesses, how they can actually scale, they're getting information in front of a client that actually wants it and actually tailored to those needs. So just for going back to this, I know this is totally off topic, but if a solar company, right, let's just say they're targeting somebody, a security system company is targeting somebody that's a brand new, you know, family, just had a baby, or a single mother or something like that. That's probably their target, you know? Well, how many doors have to knock on for somebody to meet those criteria?
Correct.
If I run an ad, I can actually put those criteria exactly to what I want it to be, and I can reach a lot more people quicker. So the efficiency of a business, you're seeing businesses scale to levels that we have never even heard of. That's why we see dentistry scaling to levels I've never heard of, because more people are getting the right information.
I wish that this was an option back in the day when I was selling Kirby vacuum cleaners. That would have been a remarkable tool.
Kirby vacuum cleaners?
Yes, sir. Kirby vacuum cleaners.
Let's talk about that.
Should I just throw out here, you know, I was actually born in 1990s.
Yeah. You guys keep giving me a hard time.
You guys talked about internet a second ago. I was like, I don't know, I wasn't born.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, let's talk a little bit about what's going on now and with respect to implants and how it's influencing dental. What do you think?
I mean, I think that implants are the future, right? So I always tell patients, especially when I'm going over treatment with them and stuff, the general progression for a tooth, and we all know this, is a filling, crown, root canal, extraction, implant. Why would a dentist tell you that, hey, we're going to do a root canal on that tooth, and then knowing that they're going to go into an implant? Well, it's because of cost. It's because of money, right? So ethics takes a big part of this. And so I think if you're upfront with the patients and you tell them right from the get-go, hey, this is what it is. Sometimes it's better to just kind of fresh start everything. And I think it scares dentists because they want to keep the money in-house. But at the end of the day, they're not doing the right thing. And two, ultimately, they're setting the patient up for failure, because they're setting that precedence of dentists are liars. And we're not saying that, but, you know, in the same token, it's not being completely truthful.
Yeah, I think that you made a valid point there by having conversations about the restorations, right? You know, when you're doing crown and bridge, that only lasts so long, but that's an investment. And, you know, you spend, $5,000 on one tooth just for the crown and bridge and the filling and the, et cetera. And then you got to turn around and pay another $2,000 to $3,000 for an implant. Yep. You just fix that tooth and you almost spend $10,000 on that one tooth.
And guess what? Yeah. That tooth is probably going to fail long term.
So, it's a problematic thing. And I think sometimes, I don't think implants is necessarily a fad or it's going to be a trend. I think it's going to be a permanent thing moving forward. And I think that dentists overall need to educate themselves better, read about it, do a bunch of CEs about it. Even if you're not interested in doing it, you still need to be educated more on what the procedure looks like. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. You got to know the options, right? Yeah. Because, and I'm not sitting here crucifying, crowns and bridges and things. When it works, it works.
Yep.
But this is not a cookie cutter approach, kind of like our program, right?
Yep.
We know that people identify problems in different ways.
Correct.
And so if it's in your wheelhouse personally, you're going to recommend it, right?
Do you guys think that people are going to move away from dentures in the next 5-10 years?
I think that if we continue down this path where full arch and implants are going to be even more affordable, if we cut the cost to a patient by 66%, because a single tooth implant 10 years ago was $10,000. Mm-hmm. Now you can do it for $25,000 or $3,000.
Yep. I
think that it will get to that point where, and patients don't have Like, the consumer doesn't have the time to continually go to a healthcare provider and get themselves fixed on a regular basis, right?
Yep.
I mean, we know that. I mean, people hardly ever show up for their 6-month appointments. You're always calling them, getting them rescheduled, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's the most important thing with this is if we get to a point where we cut the cost to a patient by 60%, it will be, everybody will have to do it. There's no doubt about that. I don't know.
We live in a society of emotion and quick, ready now mentality, right? So with that being said, and like Jeremy said, you know, with dentures, it's something that's an ongoing process. And over time, they're going to have to get another one and another one. Whereas an implant, it's kind of a one and done deal.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is just, you know, explaining those benefits
Correct.
to somebody, getting the message across. Because as we're talking with people, you know, let's just say we're selling them a car. Obviously, you know, the better car is going to last them a lot longer, but, you know, they're quick-minded. They're like, well, I can save $10K right here. Well, you're actually going to spend $30K on the back end. Same thing with the computer. I tell people all the time, I know Jeremy's going to hate me for this one, but I tell people all the time, buy a Mac. A Mac's going to last you 10 to 15 years.
What?
Okay, this is just facts right now.
Oh, my gosh, here we go.
So
Here
you
we
know,
go.
if for example, you know, I have a Mac laptop. It's from 2013. It still works to this day, full speed. Everything is compatible. It's able to do all the updates and stuff like that. You know, when people bought, you know, PCs a while ago, back around that time, they would last them 3 years. That'd be $500. Or you can buy a Mac that would be $1,000 and it'll last you 10 years. So you're saving close to $500. You know, what people need to understand is that, you know, you can't play with your health.
Yeah.
You really can't. You could be cheap with everything else. You could be cheap with your clothes. You could be cheap with your car. You could be cheap with anything else. You are get one chance at your health. You know, in dentistry, you may get, you know, a little, maybe a second chance if you're lucky, but it's going to cost you a lot more. In the
Well, I
back
think
end.
that's a relevant comment because no disrespect to consumers, but when you're talking about dental and how consumers think of dental, it's not a priority, period. Mm-hmm. You know, and they think dentists are gouging, they're money mongers, you know, all these different things. When honestly, if the consumers that are listening right now, if you guys really understood, dentists are scared to tell you how much it's going to cost. They don't want to talk to you about that. They know it's a difficult situation. They're just trying to do the best thing for you, you know, and it's difficult. And I think that, you know, once these implants start really getting heavily involved, like we talk about this all the time too as a team, right? 60% of the population need a full arch in some capacity, and only 5% of the providers do it. Yep. So 5% of the dentists in the world do it. Yep. So the dynamics of what implants and full arch business is going to look like is it's a little scary because you're going to get people involved in this that shouldn't be doing it, period. You're going to get, you know, butchers, and you're going to get all these dentists who are we're going to have to go through that process, through that phase, right, of these guys doing full arches. There's going to be 10 or 20 or whatever, how many ever there are, who just do a shitty job. And, you know, us as the dental industry cannot allow those guys to dictate how successful the full arch and implant business is going to be in the next 5 or 10 years.
100%.
So I don't know.
So let's just talk about, you know, innovation too. How has dentistry really, you know, in your guys' opinion, obviously I'm new to this whole field, but it's just crazy to me how crazy, you know, we innovate compared to other, you know, healthcare providers. You know, how quickly we're changing our skills and what's working, what's not working, and we're making these adjustments so quickly across the whole board, across the whole industry, you know?
I want to talk about that, and then I'm going to let Kevin do his thing because I know he's excited about this. The dental industry is 20 years behind the medical industry.
Really?
Period.
Yeah, huge.
Period. Like, they are so much more advanced than the dental industry. And here's the thing. I have a buddy of mine who's like the same age as your grandfather, you know, being a dentist. He's 80-some years old. He's still practicing because he loves it. Mm-hmm. But he admits it's his generation. Like, his generation eliminated all the innovation. They thought that dentistry was very black and white. This is how you prep a tooth. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. So they set him back 20 years, and he even admits it. He's like, all the guys my age, all the guys from 70 years old up to 90 years old that were dentists. You know, we set the whole industry back. So innovation is rapidly changing because those guys are riding off in the sunset. You know what I mean? I don't know how you feel about that.
So the point is, at the end of the day, you've got these guys riding on these white horses, right? And they're older doctors. And What do people not like to admit? They don't like to admit what?
Be kind.
I'm looking at you, Jimmy.
Be kind, and I'm not answering because you already told me I'm old, so I'm not going to answer that question.
They don't like to admit that changes are necessary for evolution.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right.
I'm down for change.
So with changes and evolution in anything and everything, I think it's very important to recognize that the new generation, even though they need to be taught, they don't need to be coached on the future because they are the future.
Right.
And so with that being said, they're going to be adventurous. They're going to ask questions. They're going to go against the grain. And that's necessary for elevation in anything that you do.
So, yeah, I agree with that. And with that premise, you know that innovation in the dental industry, especially implants and full arches, hell, maybe in the next 2 or 3 years is going to be completely different than what it is right now.
Yeah,
you know, just because somebody's going to come up with a better thing. I mean, we talk about this, like accuracy of cases. Like we have a PIC system, right?
Yep.
99.9% accurate.
Which is insane.
You know, and I just can't fathom that. But you know what? There's going to be something out there that's going to be better. I'm thinking to myself, how can something be any better than 99.9?
0.1.
There you go.
No, it's very, very accurate, right?
Yeah.
So we've got these tools, and how was that developed? That was developed by somebody who thought outside the box and said, hey, let me look at the process. Let me look at something that's been done for 50 years, and let me refine it.
Yeah,
And most of the
it's
time,
broken.
And most of the time, it's somebody that's not really in that field that
That's
comes
correct.
in.
Yeah.
Comes
That's
in,
correct.
just thinks outside the box with
That's
it.
correct.
So that's just the nature of the beast with everything. But you know, I think still, you know, yes, medical is at, you know, you guys were saying at a crazy bigger, you know, gap.
Sure.
You know, I'm kind of fathoming on it right now. That's pretty insane. But I still believe dentistry is just constantly evolving. Imagine,
Oh, yeah.
you know, we're talking about the other day how you can scan an entire mouth and get every kind of structure to it within seconds, and that's just remarkable to me. Yep. You know, it's you know, when patients come in, they see this type of technology. Just to me, it would make me feel more at ease. Hey,
Look at it like this: like when you go to the hospital. And I haven't been to the doctor in, I don't know, 30-some years. But when you go to the hospital, you lay on this bed and they do this scan over your body, and then you actually legit get a layout of your body, muscles,
Yep.
bone, all that stuff, right? Dental industry hasn't even gotten into that yet. We're just dabbing in that right now with with these scanners, right? Just imagine having not even have to manually do it. Like they have to do this, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just wait until it gets to a point where you put something over a person's face and it goes, and then we have everything.
Yep.
I mean, isn't that going to be insane? And it's coming. Yeah. It's got to come.
Yeah, and it's just making the consumers a lot more, you know, at ease with these different types of things. So going off the point you're talking about, just healthcare with it, there's actually clinics that are opening up. There's no physical doctor or person inside these offices, so it's all autonomous. So you walk through the front door.
It's coming.
You go to
it's
a scanner.
Coming.
You would actually put your hand on. They take a small, you know, imprint to get you obviously your blood levels and stuff. You know, that they're going to do blood pressure and stuff like that, all automatic. Within about 10 minutes, there's no wait time. Within 10 minutes, they're going to have, you know, staff that's going to come on virtually and start, you know, updating you on stuff and everything like that. But that's when they have all the test results back, and that's incredible. You know, we're moving towards these ways, and I'm guessing dentistry is going to work towards these ways where, unfortunately, we're not going to have a dentist present. You know, we're going to have surgeries.
We're already doing virtual consults.
We're going to have virtual surgeries soon, where they're actually going to be, you know,
robotic.
Robotic, everything robotic.
100%.
Wait a minute, you're not talking about like the metaverse and stuff like that, right?
No, the metaverse is a cartoonish. I'm talking about real life, where we're going with this stuff, you know. We're not going to talk about, you know, some of your investments.
I agree. No, it's not.
And the future is coming, and rounding it back off, right, into dental implants. Implants spurred from an idea that's now in practice.
Yep.
And 10, 20 years from now, I think that they're going to be the denture equivalent, and then we're going to come out with something else.
Yeah, there'll be something better at some point.
100%. But for right now, we've got the implants. We know it's great. We know it saves money, and we know that it saves time.
Well, you know, speaking of saving money and saving time and implants, we have a big event coming up on September 29th.
We do.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Fort Lauderdale, right?
Super excited.
Super excited. We got a bunch of dentists coming. We're going to teach everybody everything they need to know about implants, full arches, and the business. Like, clinically, we talk about this all the time. All three of us. We laugh because I'm smiling right now. Like, there's always a situation where these dentists get this clinical training, right? And they can get clinical training any day of the week, you know, 365 days a year pretty much. they come back to the office and they're like, whoa, I can place implants now.
Yep.
Or I can do a full arch now. And they're like, what am I supposed to do? That's what I love about our events for Implants for All Institute, I4A Business Solutions, is we create a platform that helps these guys and gals take that clinical training and implement it inside their practice.
Yep.
Or group of practices.
I think we are innovating in a sense too, because there's this whole, path laid out for dentists. At this point in time in your career, you should be at this level, and this point you're should be at that level. But I believe that we are innovating this whole thing into a new path.
I agree.
I would love to take credit for it, but you guys came up with all these different structures. I'm really just, pushing your guys' idea of how this is all plays out. But I think it's remarkable how fast we can actually get a doctor up and running and see success. We're basically shortening their success, length in half or even in quarters. We're compressing all of the knowledge, all the mistakes, and we're saying, hey, we understand you may go through these mistakes, but we're going to go ahead and shrink this process and show you the faster way to actually be successful, and then overall bringing their EBITDA of their business up. And it's just incredible how we can actually do that. And we're going over all of this information on September 29th. And, if you're a dentist, if you're somebody looking to, just get more information, you should be at this event, because we're going to go over so much other stuff. What are the other clinical things we're going to be having?
Yeah, we're going to be, it's vendor management, it's procurement, it's lab services. We're going to figure that out. It's lead generation, it's marketing, it's understanding how to get the patient in the front door. Mm-hmm. It's clinical as well, with respect to the procedure and how you actually do that. Mm-hmm. It's everything. And you and I talk about this all the time, Nick. We went to the FTC, right? And there's 7 or 8 people at the FTC that do one specific thing that our Implants for All Institute and I4A Business Solutions does as an entire organization. And it's huge to be able to go to one person and say, listen, I need all this. Instead of having to manage 7 different vendors, you come to us, we handle everything for you. And it's an incredible situation, because you're getting, it's a dentist-led organization, right? Dr.
Correct.
Plains, okay?
Correct.
And we're in the mud. Like, we get in the mud every day, and that's critical. And so we understand the challenges and tribulations and everything else that goes with that on a day-to-day basis.
And with that stuff, when you're dealing with companies that just specialize in one thing, what are you getting? You're getting a higher price point.
Correct.
Because they're not able to cut, little corners and stuff like that. They're not at the level. And when we were walking around, I'm seeing some of these prices. I'm thinking to myself, we're almost like wholesaling this out.
Like, who would pay that? Yeah.
Yeah, who would pay that? I know I had this conversation with a new grad, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to go use, this, I'm not going to say exactly what it was. I'm going to go use this company over here, and they're going to provide X, Y, and Z, and it's going to cost $70,000. I'm like, you need so much more on the back end, though, right?
Oh, and by the way, I just got out of dental school and I have $500,000 in debt.
Yeah, $500,000.
So let me go take a $70K loan out on top of that.
Yeah, right? And we see this all the time. Jeremy's, talk to people that, bought dentist chairs when they didn't even have the building yet. We see these problems come up, and, if you're in the world of finance and you're in the world of investments, I'm not guaranteeing nothing on here, but if you're in the world of finance and you actually understood what we did and the type of return that you can have in this period of time, I think it's like remarkable. I don't know why other investors, and maybe we'll get to this one day, guys, just, shooting for the stars right now, but maybe we'll get to a day where we'll have investors actually, invest for other people into our program. That's huge where we can go with this, just because of where we're actually projecting, this project to really go. And that's why we're having so much attraction right now. We're getting our phones called every single day. We're getting calls of different people wanting to partner up with us, just because for some reason, Dr. Plains said, hey, I want to tackle everything in the world. I'm going to conquer all of it. I'm going to take all my problems, and I'm going to make one-stop solutions for everything.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's nuts to think about. You say, hey, let me just take on all of you guys versus me, and I have solutions for all of it. And it all came into play. Kevin, you have a huge part in that too.
Well, no, and I think we all, everybody sitting here has a huge part in that, right? We've all got, it takes a village.
Yeah.
It really does.
It does.
And I think that it comes down to this, and I'm not going to say any names here, guys, but just for our viewers out there, we had a doctor start, 2 weeks ago with us, I just got back from North Carolina.
Ready?
And I'm one of the people that you will see in your office. We're not scared.
We're not trying to scare you away.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Listen,
That could be changed if you don't want it.
they made me put my seat down so I don't look as tall.
Yes, can we put some highlight on that real quick? We're not all the same height as Jeremy.
Yes, they are.
So getting back to it. So I went to North Carolina. I spoke to this doctor, and we closed, I think it was in 2 weeks' time, over $50,000
Yeah.
in treatment.
Yeah, and he was fired up about the program, and he was hesitant about the program too. Because why? Because he invested in a lot of other pieces of our entire program,
Yes.
and they didn't get him the return on investment that he wanted. 2 weeks, over $50K in closing.
And
That's
to
insane.
put that in perspective, guys, the average dental practice is anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000 in revenue a month.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically did in 2 weeks his whole month.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's not including all the other services that he has. You know, he has a lot of other procedures that are totally outside of us. So the amount of, you know, let's just be transparent for our viewers. You know, I know Jeremy might kill me on this, but the doctor pretty
You
much.
said that a couple times already today.
I think he's got some trust issues, Jeremy.
I do a little bit, but imagine putting down, you know, like a down payment, you know, half of that for your first month on this program. Let's just be transparent out there, because we want to be transparent. We want you guys to actually really understand what we can do for you guys. So you put down maybe like a little bit less than half of that, and in 1 month you're getting your return back. You're seeing results, and this is obviously somebody that's, you know, a little bit more clinically trained than most, but you're able to see these type of trends, and you see these possibilities of where we're going, and the ways that we can actually scale you is just unheard of. It really is. If this was across, I know we're going to get into this eventually, if this was across other industries, you know, how next level could this be?
Where are you going to see, like you said in a call we just went to earlier, where are you going to see in 6 months
Yeah.
you double your return?
You're not.
I can't name an account, a bank, anything that you can get that.
And Jeremy won't let me, you know, put some investments in this.
No. No, we, I mean, it's really a valuable program for sure. And, you know, I'm super excited. This is the second one we've done. I'm super excited about September 29th in Fort Lauderdale. Listen, hook up with Nick, all right? You can find him on social media at what? Nick.Messina.
No, it's nickmessina.eth.
There you go. Look him up, okay? Subscribe to the podcast. Look up Dr. Plains on Instagram, and, you know, get your invite done. And we want to see everybody there. So, I mean, I hope we kind of talked a little bit about implants. I hope everybody feels, you know, starts thinking about stuff and understanding like where this is really going to go, because it's going to go big. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out and talking about that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, thanks guys. Enjoy your week, and we'll talk to you soon.